Alright, this is Kean, Piano 3, and this is the last video because I'm going to be doing all 3 weeks, April 6th, April 13th, April 20th, because there's hardly anything new. It's all you getting ready for the final. So you should have the lesson plan sheet, the week-to-week lesson plan. I know one person said they didn't have it, but they have to look for it, and if not, call me. But right now, the examination is on the week of the 27th. You have a memorized solo, and so far I haven't heard anybody who's begun it, and that could be a big mistake if by the next time I see you, you haven't begun it, because it's got to be memorized and it has to be played beautifully. Memorize, you have to memorize America the Beautiful, and that's all ongoing things. I did the Schubert, sing and accompany, right? And all your scales, all your black key scales, and the score reading that was new last time. So I'll just go over a few things. I'll do the new things first, and then I'll review a little bit with the old, but it shouldn't take very long for this. So let's start with April 6th. You're continuing the Schubert, which is the bum 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 ya ba 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 bum. I may go over that later, I'll see. America the Beautiful, you have to learn it all the way through and you have to memorize it. And I'm telling you, you have to play it without stops. You cannot do this. Oh, that's not going to be good. That's going to be a very, very bad grade, because this is basically the top 3 things: the memorized solo, memorized America the Beautiful, and the Schubert. Those are big, big deals. The other 2, they count heavily, but not as much as this, because that's what you have to do for your piano proficiency. So anyone who's taking a piano proficiency 3 semesters from now, 2 semesters from, oh, this is piano 3. Next semester, all you have is piano 4 left. I just did a piano 1 video and I'm totally confused. This is piano 3. I think I have it right. Okay, so let's go over everything. So first, let's go over the Frackenpole. So the new concept in the Frackenpole, and it's the last concept, and then next semester go deeply into this. So this is called blocking. I'm on Frackenpole, page 6, number 15 on the bottom. It appears very simple, and it is, but I want to show you why you're doing it. So the left hand is just 1, 4, 5. At the end you have cadence. Just what you've been doing all semester long. So the left hand, very simple, 1, 4, 5. You have a 2 chord. At the end you have 2, 5, 1. 2, 5, 5, 7, 1. Anyway, here's what I want to get to. Here's the melody. Just get that in your fingers. Now, the chord for the first measure is G major. So someday, if not already, you're going to be playing a lead sheet out of a real book, out of a fake book, a show tune, and you're going to simply see a melody. And on top of it, it'll say G. Well, what you do is you play G on top, and you block it with notes of the chord, D and B. But these notes aren't going to be there. Neither is this. All you're going to see is... So, if you would write in immediately, first measure is G. I'll do it with you. The second measure is A minor / C. The third measure is D7. And the fourth measure is G. So you should have G, A minor, C. I don't know whether you can see it, but I'm writing it on top of the stabs. Then, in the next full measure, you'll have a D chord, D. Next measure, G. Second system, C for the first 2 beats. The last beat will be G. And the next measure, D. So I'm on the second system. The first 2 beats are C. The third beat is G, and D is the last beat, is the second measure. Then we go back to what we had at the beginning. G. Now, you're going to have A minor over C again, but the third beat, now I'm on the third to the last measure. I'm 3 measures from the end. The third beat in that measure is also A minor, except it's plain AM, A minor. It's not over C anymore. And then the next to last measure is D7 and G. So what you should have in this piece, measure 1, G. Measure 2, A minor over C. Measure 3, D7. Measure 4, G. Measure 5, D. Measure 6, G. Measure, next measure, second system is C, but the third beat is G. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th measure is D. The 9th measure is G. The next measure will be A minor over C, then plain old A minor, then D7 and G. And that's the cadence, A minor, D, G, 2, 5, 1, your typical cadence that you're familiar with. Now, so pretend you don't see anything there except, there's nothing there except that. So you're going to play the G and say, well, I have a G chord up there. What notes fit into that? D and B. You grab as many notes under, it's called blocking. You're blocking the G. And you hold it. Then you look at what's written and say, yep, I got it right. You simply check yourself with that. The next chord's A minor. Well, A, C, E. Every fingering you ever learned, you throw out the window. Your scale fingerings, your chord fingerings, typical everyday fingerings. You don't do that anymore. All your melody is played up here in the 5th and the 4th finger. These I'm going to block. So watch. Melodies on top. So blocking, you're going to be using 1, 2, 1, 3, whatever you need to use. So nothing goes smooth. That's where the pedal comes in. Without the pedal, you would have heard. You would hear a lot of choppiness. Okay, next measure, D major. So A is in the melody, F sharp and D is under it. G, C, G, D. Second system. Now, as a pianist, I can make fingerings that are pianistic. 5, 5, 4, 3. You may not be able to do that. You may want to play, chop it with 5, 5, 5, 5. Up to you. But 5, 5, 4, 3 works. And then the rest is D7. So you play the bass line, you play the melody, and you insert the notes of the chord that you wrote as a chord symbol above the staff. It's the beginning of faking. It's called faking. You have a melody, you add a bass note, it says G, you're just putting it in there. It's not going to say any, you're not going to read any of this music. You know, all you're going to have is this. Especially if you're teaching, you're going to have a lot of lead sheet music where you have to insert everything. You have to know how to block. So that's number 15. Somewhere along the line, you're going to have number 16, I believe. Why don't I see it? 15? Yes, 16 on page 7. And you're going to play those 5 lines on top. And here's the way this works. It's actually very easy. Especially after you've done this. This will be okay. So the melody here is this. Line 1 is the melody. You have to get these in your ear and your head. You have to know what's going on so that you can concentrate on everything below it. The second line, you've blocked the melody. So measure 1 and 2 is an F chord. You see how it's written in measure 1. On line 1, it has an F major, then a B flat, then an F, a C7, an F, a C7, an F. So even if this weren't there, I would be doing the same thing. I would have an F in the melody and put the A and C below it. The melody is A, so I put F and C below it. C is the melody. I put F and A below it. The D in the third measure has a B flat chord symbol. So you find notes of the B flat chord. At least 2 of them. At least 2. It says C7, I have a B flat. I can play a whole C7. Or just E-G B flat. Or you read what's there. So you're playing F, B flat, C, 1, 4, 5 progression. Now, the bottom 2 lines, the bottom 2, I know it doesn't say to play them together, but you will. So the very bottom line is the bass line. So really it's right. And on top of that is this. What is that? Well, the melody is on top with the stems up. And under it, it's after beats. So the melody with after beats. After beats. If you look at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, the very 5th line says step 4. That's what you end up with. That's what you end up with from the very line 1. You had a bass. Then you had the chords. A lot of moving around, disconnect, lots of disconnect. It's not like playing your typical classical music or any of the songs you've been playing in class. Okay, so that's it. That's the last thing we're going to do, and it sets you right up for next semester, where you're going to be doing that a lot. So we'll be going over this anyway at the lesson. So if you do have questions, ultimately you'll have that. America the Beautiful is the same idea. I know I went over it already, but just look at the melody. It's a B flat chord. It's an F chord. These are all F7 chords with the melody moving up. Now this, you just have to get that. That's a B flat chord, a B diminished 7 chord, back to F7 with a C in the bass. Don't forget this G. Now, here's the last 8 measures. And if you look really carefully, you're going to see that the bottom, the bass, I'm in measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the 9th measure. Look at the bass line. It has the melody. You're not going to hear it. You'll sense it. The subconscious knows that it's there, but it's very interesting. You say, that's what's going on. A lot of polyphony, a lot of contrapuntal thinking. Here is a suspension. The B flat suspended from the last measure. Then you have contrary motion. The right hand's playing downward, descending, ascending. I'm on the bottom system, first measure. So when you're playing, I'm playing. I'm accompanying a chorus with this. And it's very important that I don't stop. It's very important that I get the outline of the chord. It's very important that I don't feed the singer the wrong note. So if I'm not sure, I'll leave out one. For example, look at the last system. I get there and I'm a little anxious, I'm a little nervous, I'm not that, I'm not feeling real good about myself in that measure. So I do this. I left out about half of it, but no one would have known. You take the chance that the singer knows what he's supposed to do. That's, if you're teaching grammar school and high school, that's not usually the case, but college, you have to figure they know it. So the inner voices, just get that bass. Here's just the bass and soprano. You get away with it when you're stuck. And when you're playing it for me for the final, you can do the same thing. I don't want you to stop. It's as simple as that. Then the coda. You got that big fat B flat 7 chord. And the last 4 measures are E flat, C minor 7, B flat with an F in the bass, then unison. And you have an F down here, and this A, you can leave out, or you can put it up here. Or you can break it. Accompanists, we're so used to breaking chords that it's not an issue. So, B flat, F major, right hand ascending, F7. This you have to get. You see what it does? It just goes 1-5 with a diminished, which is usually what diminished 7 chords are for anyway. B flat, G minor 7, F with a C in the bass, F with a C in the bass, lower neighbor, accented lower neighbor, C7, actually sounds like a C9 for a second here. And now, contrary motion. And then, I told you the melody is down here. Contrary. That's a tough measure. You have to find fingering. I use 1-5, 1-3, 2-4, 2-3, 1-5. There's a lot of possibilities there. And the ending is that B flat 7. That resolution. C minor 7. B flat with an F in the bass. F7. B flat. Okay. So that's the Frackenpole book for you. The cadences now, you're going to take it to the next level. I think we stopped on F sharp. So I did F sharp with you last time. We're still doing F sharp major. And we're going to do the C sharp and D flat cadences, and that's it. That'll be all the white key cadences. So we'll go to the cadences, and we'll do the 7 sharps, which is measure 43. Look, if you know C, just put it up to C sharp. It's all the same feel. I see some of you you're trying to feel for the next one, you should have this. You can make a mistake, but make a mistake in the right direction. So, you know, it's not a third, and this isn't a third or a second. It's so C sharp major. Just read everything sharp. C sharp major, F sharp, and pedal every chord. F sharp major, if you have a pedal. C sharp. This is G sharp 7. Bass line. If nothing's automatic, this should be automatic. Then, when you make minor out of this, you of course lower the third. But when you go to F sharp major, you want to make a minor. It's the top notes. The top note is the third. So and that'll finish it off for you. Of course, that's all there is from, not the white key scales, it's the right side of the circle. So C, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp, C sharp, cadences. Now, for the last scales, all we have is the, let's see, C sharp, D flat scales you already did, arpeggios and chords, Scorpion, fractal pole. Okay, so you've done all of these then, right? Have we done B flat yet? Yeah, we did everything. We did all the scales. All the scales are done. So you should have D flat scale, E flat, G flat, F sharp, A flat, B flat. That's the whole thing. Now, here's something new to put on your lesson plan. For April 6th, page 8, musette. Musette in the landing book. Page 8 in the landing book. This is a solo for when I hear you April 20th, there will be a test on it. Yeah, just double checking. I had to change it. A few things changed during the semester where I wasn't able to get as much done as I wanted. So instead, I'm inserting a nice easy one. You did the echo say. This is no harder than that, this musette. So, left hand, real simple. Lots of that stuff. Second line, middle. Third line. And the fourth line. With a couple of exact replicas, it's unison. In other words, here's the melody. Left hand. Then the two hands play unison. So when the left hand's not playing unison, it's playing. You've heard a lot of bass lines. I actually did it in the echo say, in the bridge. Right? So you've already done that kind of thinking. So again. Don't forget to make that left hand staccato. It has to be staccato. Then the right hand has a new idea. Left hands. Changes. Then the left hand pedal points on E. Pedal point. And the right hand is. Together. Then the only hard part, in my opinion, is the next to the last system, the first measure. Those three measures. So that part on the third system, last measure. Back. And as usual, you're in 1. And the second part, the B section, is in the 5. And then, of course, the E is going to go to A to D. Circle of fifths, E, A, D, G. So here's the way this thing sounds. Notice, little emphasis, that's a tenuto, that little line over T-E-N, U-T-O, but it usually says T-E-N. It means a slight emphasis. Echo. Second part. Now, this is tricky because it's syncopated. Here this is again slow. Third system, second measure. It's hard to believe this is Bach even. It's not very Bach-like as far as I'm concerned, because Bach never really got into these bass lines. Bach usually would be like, heavy, organy, very organish. But if he wrote it, you never know, by the way. Don't forget, this is 300 and something years ago. It's not always accurate who wrote what, believe me. So, let's see. The Haydn Roast line I went over, and I'll go over it with you at your lessons as well. You have to get this. If you stop when you're accompanying yourself singing, it's like done. It's done. Picture you're accompanying a student. Most of you are ed majors. Matter of fact, I think all of you are. So you have a poor kid on stage going bum 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 ba da ba da bum. He sings da, and you don't get the F sharp. It happens all the time. You have to trust me. I've seen everything. I've supervised hundreds of student teachers, at least 200 something. I've also done them at the colleges, and they don't get it, that you have to be perfect. You can make a mistake. Yum, bum, 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 bum. Here's what I'm not going to get wrong. I'm not getting that wrong, but watch me mess up the right hand. Bum, 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 ba da ba da bum, 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 ba da da da. I just played every note wrong on the right hand. I got away with it because I kept this, and it was on the beat. So instead of playing DGB, I played GBE. Well, not a big deal, because all I did was play some of the notes of the chord and make a mistake on 1 or 2 of them. But if you don't hit that F sharp, you're going to throw everybody off. I've seen it 1,000 times. So you'll throw yourself off, actually, just as easily. So your solo, I'll do with you. You have a lot to do. You have a lot to do here. So you have your solo. You got to memorize both of them with America the Beautiful, the Schubert, Sing and Accompany, all the black key scales, and your score reading. Don't forget your score reading. I'll go over that with you as well. But I think I did it on a previous video. Yes, I did. Page 185 and 195. Okay? So there won't be any more videos, because that gets you right up to the final on the week of the 27th. And that's it. So practice. You have to practice a great deal.